Hello, and welcome everyone
Hi.
to
Hi.
not you. I'm not talking to you. Talking to the thousands upon thousands of people who are listening to this. Welcome to Retro Filmdango, episode number 33. This is the 80s comedy special. I think we've done one of these before, so we'll say this is part 2.
It's another one.
Another one.
You know what I realized this is? This is comfort movies.
I like that. I felt comfortable watching most of these movies. Ooh, controversy. It's coming up. Get ready.
Uh-oh.
So the 3 movies we watched are Stripes from 1981. Then we watched Revenge of the Nerds from 1984. And then most of us watched Major League from 1989. Coming up. Get ready. Strap yourselves in. That's how I tease. That's how I tickle your ass with a feather, so you'll listen to the rest of the show. So I'm Kevin, buried on Mars. I'm here with my co-host. There might be somebody that will click on this later on.
Let's go to the comments.
There might be somebody.
Viewer comments show up.
The commenter is here. We have him on the show. Okay, I'm here with my co-host Richard, aka Rambox Comedy, and frequent commentator, Milwaukee Brewers fan. Don't hold that against him. It's Rocket Sauce, also known as Ryan. How you doing, Ryan? It's been a while since we have had you on.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good right now.
Last time we had you on, we were talking about Death Wish 3.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
How great of a movie it was.
And it still is.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. But today, there's no Charles Bronson, unfortunately, in any of these movies.
Still good, though.
Yes. All right, let's go. Movie number 1, Stripes. Here is the trailer. Remember to do that this time for Richard.
Thank you very much.
If he decides to put the audio up.
Well, you can always just do it right now and share the audio. So if you had it via YouTube, you could always share your screen with audio and you could watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Don't go recommending things to improve this show.
I'm just saying it'd be good for the live show, or less work you would have to do, later.
You want me to play down the trailer now?
If you got it, you could do it.
I think I could do this on the fly. Let's see.
Really?
This is the problem when we have guests. They actually want us to improve and better ourselves.
They ask questions.
Let's see. Stripes trailer. Let's see if I can do this. Here we go. It's a 3-minute, 10-second trailer. Oh, it's the audio thing. That's it.
You can share audio. I know, because I've had to do this for frequent, Cartridge Club live viewings.
Okay, so tell me how to. It says use Chrome if you'd like to share audio with your screen. Am I using Chrome? No, I'm using Firefox.
Because there's usually a share screen button. And then when you share it, you can select share audio. There's usually a checkbox you can do it.
Okay, well, let me go to Google Chrome.
He's probably right, because you could do something like that on Skype.
Okay, so here's Chrome. Here I am putting in the trailer, hitting pause, getting ready for it. Share screen. Okay, so I'm going to share. Right. Allow. So there it is. Now where do I select the audio? Because if I hit play, you guys won't hear this.
It's usually on the share screen option when you do it. When you select your screen, there's usually the option for it. But I'm
Remove
guessing
from stream, full screen layout. Do that. You guys can't hear that, right?
No.
No.
Sorry.
We could assume what they're saying.
We could,
you look like an uncivilized slob.
Lady, you broke my heart, lady. Please, I'm
yeah, don't leave. Wait for the basketball to come through the window.
Little help.
Yeah. Little help.
That's good.
Thank you.
There's my hero. Or notes.
There she was, just walking down the street, singing do a diddy dum diddy do.
Great audio. Yeah. John Larroquette playing with
doing my best here.
Yeah, I'm doing what I remember. Lieutenant?
Oh, he's
Dan
captain.
Felding.
He was captain.
Oh, Captain. Sorry.
That's right. This looked cold. This was a very cold looking scene. I got cold watching that. He wishes to be a loofah.
Yeah, I wish I could be a loofah here.
That was good. Oh
gosh, the Aunt Jemima treatment.
Yeah,
that scene is rough.
Little cringe. It's no Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. There's Joe Flaherty, not Joe X Flaherty.
Come on, Ox. You can do this.
Ox.
John Candy was great in this.
Get him. Ox. I can do it.
Oh, hey, they got their tops on for this. Not the version.
The trailer.
There was a Danny Thomas
from Strange
or Dave Thomas. Sorry, not Danny Thomas.
Army training, sir.
This is just the kind of young go-getters we need.
Hire this man. There you go. The RV. That thing made sense. All that glass, that's totally Army.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was good. That looked like a good video game.
Yep.
They put sun visors on.
Those missiles were hilarious too. Oh, that was a good stunt.
Yeah, looks just like the actor.
Oh, and he's fine. Just his bum got on fire. Look at Warren Oates here.
That
was
I'm too old for this.
That was the Riggs moment,
yeah.
Or Murtaugh moment. Stripes.
There you go.
Oh, right.
Coming soon.
All right, how do I get us back? I don't remember. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Easy
Smooth.
transition.
That wasn't so bad.
Couldn't hear it though. I don't know how to
Well,
do that.
So I'm guessing you would have to do this broadcast in Chrome, and you could do it because there is a little checkbox when you select share screen below the screen you're sharing to share the audio. So
okay. Well, I'm not going to restart all this for that. That worked. That worked. Good call.
Yeah.
Executive producer. It's Rocket Sauce. All right. Who wants to give us a rundown? Richard, you look like you're ready for a rundown.
Sure. Oh my goodness. Did you make this up yourselves? Two friends who are dissatisfied with their jobs decide to join the army for a bit of fun.
I should have volunteered for that one.
That was
Is that
copied
what they write on the back of the Blu-ray?
That was copied and pasted straight from IMDb. So take that.
All right. Film stars Bill Murray, John Candy, Harold Ramis, and your hero, Warren Oates.
That's right.
What makes him your hero?
He's a fantastic actor. He's in a bunch of movies, and hardly anyone knows good old Warren Oates. He was also in my favorite movie, The Wild Bunch, which you guys hated, but I love.
The director was Ivan Reitman. Writing credits Len Blum, Daniel Goldberg, and Harold Ramis.
Blum.
What?
Blum. I just wanted to say Blum. It was just fun to say Blum.
Runtime an hour and 46 minutes. Cost $10 million to make, and the box office was $85,297,000.
Made some dough.
That was a big success here. Would anyone like to read the fun facts?
Rocket Sauce. Give us the first one.
According to Ivan Reitman in the DVD commentary, the scene where Bill Murray is loading the rich woman's suitcase into the trunk and he hits himself in the crotch was an accident. Murray really did hit himself in the crotch with the case. Thus, this very line, "Oh my balls."
Balls.
An all new "Ow my balls."
Bill Murray.
Accuracy back.
Bill Murray agreed to do the film 2 weeks before shooting began, of course. He did not show up until the third day of shooting because he was attending Chicago Cubs baseball games instead. That's so Bill Murray. That's you, Richard. You're next.
I'm waiting for your distortion to clear. I can't hear when you actually stop talking. John Larroquette improvised the dialogue where he's watching the girls in the shower through a telescope, including the odd line, "Oh God, I wish I was a loofah." According to Larroquette, he had to explain to Ivan Reitman what a loofah was.
And according to Ivan Reitman in the DVD commentary, Columbia Pictures wanted to cut out the scene where Sergeant Hulka and John Winger have a confrontation in the latrine. The studio felt the scene was too serious, but Reitman insisted that it be left in to truly establish Sergeant Hulka's strength and authority.
I'm glad they left it in because I thought that was an effective scene.
That makes sense because a lot of it's very goofy. So you need that serious tone.
Yeah, yeah, like to hammer it home that this is something.
Right, he's not just a lovable drill sergeant. He's like, "Oh, you!"
Right. I thought this was interesting. John Larroquette broke his nose while shooting an additional take of a scene of him running through a door. The shot shown in the film is the first take. Heavy makeup was applied to Larroquette's nose for the rest of filming. Yeah. Makes me want to watch it again.
Oh, is it me again?
Yep.
Okay, according to the DVD special features, the film was originally conceived as a vehicle for Cheech and Chong. Ivan Reitman has also stated that the reason this fell through was because their manager insisted, without the pair's knowledge, on a 25% share of Reitman's next 5 films, which he wasn't willing to give up. The script was then rewritten for Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, and most of the stoner humor was shifted to the Elmo character played by Judge Reinhold.
Can you imagine if he did give that up? Like, Cheech and Chong would own 25% of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? Jeez.
Well, what were the other films he did? I mean, he did like Kindergarten Cop and Ghostbusters 2, so they all made a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, what were his 5 films after that?
I'd have to look it up, but Ghostbusters was definitely...
Ghostbusters 2, maybe Kindergarten Cop was still in there. Not until he gets to that, what was that, Extermination, whatever that garbage was.
Was this Reitman's first movie, or
no?
I never looked it up on IMDb.
His first big movie was
Vacation before this, right? Or was that after this?
He did Animal House, right?
I don't see Vacation on here at all. I think did he do Vacation?
Didn't Ivan Reitman do Vacation?
I think it was just Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
So Harold Ramis's next 5 movies after Stripes was Ghostbusters, Legal Eagles, Twins, Ghostbusters 2, and then Kindergarten Cop. So that would have been a good paycheck for Cheech and Chong to do nothing but work on a movie with him. Okay, give us our final one.
Ivan Reitman requested
Joel
Flaherty, thank you, for the part of the border guard. However, due to the mix-up, Joseph X.
Flaherty,
thank you, was accidentally cast in the role. Reitman was able to contract the
Flaherty
that he originally wanted. The other Flaherty was given the role of Sergeant Crocker.
Sorry, Ryan, I forgot you were American. Joe Flaherty's a Canadian treasure. He's a national treasure, so...
I'm terrible with last names too, so I need to hear it a bunch of times before I get it correct.
Well, you got it on the 3rd or 4th time. So.
Yeah.
But I saw that name in the credits, Joseph X. Flaherty, and I'm like, who the hell is that? And I thought, when I read the fun fact there, I thought, wow, that's interesting.
That almost sounds like what happened with Bill Murray for the Garfield movie, where he thought the Coen brothers were the ones directing it, and turns out it was just some other guy named Coen. So.
Same thing with Burt Reynolds and Navajo Joe was a movie he thought he was doing with Sergio Leone, who did The Good and Bad and the Ugly, and it was another Italian director with this same first name, Sergio.
Got to read those contracts,
or pay attention to the names.
Yeah.
So, what did we think of Stripes?
Is this one that you watched?
Yes, I did.
Shocker yet? Okay.
I did watch Stripes. This was the first time I watched it in a long time. I don't know if I've seen the extended edition yet. I just watched my Blu-ray, and it didn't give me a different version, so I just watched that one.
I was looking at that again last night. The extended version is probably in part of that Cheech and Chong script, because it was them with a bunch of paratroopers, and they didn't see any of that.
No, I still have not seen that. I know.
They-
Is it like an LSD scene or something?
Yeah, they take some pills that end up
Okay.
being LSD, and then they go out with the paratroopers, and then they get caught in this village, and they have to sing a song to get out of it.
I was reading the fun facts, and that was a scene that Ivan Reitman had cut, and the movie studio really wanted him to keep it because they felt it was the funniest scene. But he said like this doesn't work for the whole movie. So I've still not seen that cut. I have not seen this thing. I've only
I don't think you're missing much, because it did you watch that version, Ryan?
I've I've only seen the extended version, and I've seen it twice now. And I only know it's because I couldn't find it. I own this movie on DVD, and I own the extended cut, which also has the DVD has both versions of it. So I had to resort to finding this movie online. And yes, I did see that particular scene that you mentioned there, which was going to bring up my point for what I think about this movie is, boy, I thought I was watching, because I guess I'm like Kevin, it's the first time I watched it in a really long time. I was gonna say this movie is really, really long. It was like over 2 hours long, and I'm like, it hurts the movie being that long. But I don't know, like I said, I've only seen the extended cut, and this is the second time I've seen it. So
yeah, the first time I watched it, I saw the regular cut, and then I saw the theatrical cut, and the extended cut, and then I remember thinking, wow, this movie is a lot longer, and there are a bunch of scenes I don't remember because I didn't realize I was watching a different one. And yeah, it adds nothing. Like that whole it's so long, that section. It's not like a little scene, like just one extra scene. It's like this, I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes it felt like of just that extra part. And it's like a little subplot. It's not just one other little wacky moment of them training. It goes on a long time.
yeah, it really slowed
I'd
down
say
the
skip
film.
it.
Well, yeah, it sounds like I should stay pure and just stick to the Ivan Reitman cut, if you will, the original cut. I really enjoyed it. Watching it again, it definitely feels like an originator. Like you can see, like we were watching it, and Sarah's like, "This feels a lot like Police Academy." And Police Academy came out about 3 years later, so it makes you wonder if they were just sitting there watching. It's like, hey, we could just switch these army people for police and just switch up the gags a little bit, because it even has the same sort of beats. They're in training, they prove themselves in training, and then they have to go and do. They get thrown into a mission. But I think a lot of movies actually, did the same, followed the same formula from Stripes, but. Yeah, still a really funny movie. I enjoyed it. I think Bill Murray's great in it. Harold Ramis, his acting definitely improved in later movies. He was a little bit shaky in a few scenes. You could tell he was kind of green to this whole, like he was just kind of thrown into it too, right? Bill Murray just wanted Harold Ramis because he wanted Harold Ramis on set to help him improvise and help him with like dialogue. Anytime some dialogue, like help him rewrite dialogue. Anytime he got into any sort of trouble. So he was almost just there as Bill Murray's teddy bear. So I thought that was good. And Warren Oates, like I said, I think he made a terrific bad guy, but likable bad guy at the same time. I definitely, it's kind of weird, but I'm at the point now in my life where I identified more with Warren Oates than with Bill Murray. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're a smart ass. You're funny, but sometimes we got to get stuff done, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it, and I watched this after I watched Revenge of the Nerds, and I felt a lot better about Stripes after watching it after Revenge of the Nerds. So, what do you guys think? Who wants to go?
I've watched this. I think I had already watched it twice within the past 2 years before this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, I discovered it very late in life, but really enjoyable. The only thing that sticks out to me is that some of the humor does feel a bit aggressive. And it's really just that one Aunt Jemima scene on the stove That maybe if I'd seen it when I was younger, I'd probably just take it as, he's just messing around. But it really does seem a little over the line to me. I don't know. It's the one part that sticks out.
That really could be said about any movie of that age. Like, look at the Rocky scene with Adrian, right? Like, Adrian's like, I don't want to be with you. And he basically corners her, like that was like filmmaking then, and I think it's just
and you see that a bit of stuff like that in Revenge of the Nerds also. But I guess it's just the physical act. Like he's got the cooking implements and he's like, poking at her and everything.
She seemed to be having fun with it though. It seemed like
fun. She said she was having fun. Yeah. That's your defense, huh?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's how they portrayed her in the film. Like,
right.
It was like horse playing, I guess. It wasn't like he was attacking her, and I didn't get that vibe, but
I don't know. When you look at his face, he's really serious, and his body language, he's just like prodding at her.
They probably could have toned it down a bit. You're right.
Yeah, a little bit. But that's not Murray.
The other thing I picked up on this time around that I hadn't before was John Candy supposed to be, like, his character, was he supposed to be racist? Because
I mentioned that to you once before, because that one moment in training.
Well, they're training right before the
right before graduation. Yeah.
He gets into a fight with him, and then he seems to be always picking on the black guy. And they don't like it would be one thing if they made, like, if they set it up that the black guy did something to John Candy, and then you could, like, okay, they just oil and water. They just don't, their personalities clash. But
there's for me, there was like nothing throughout the whole movie until everybody's tired. They haven't been performing well. It's right before graduation. They're trying to drill. And there's a rhythm to to their marching and everything. So at one point, I forget if it was Bill Murray or Harold Ramis, but they say, black guys, help the white guys out.
Yeah.
And then that's it. John Candy's character just gets really angry at that. And it's like he's about to start a fight. But there was nothing leading up to that.
No.
So maybe there was some scenes that got cut, or I don't know.
Well, even towards the end, in the final scene, when he's looking at Bill Murray, he's looking at all the heroes walking there, and he tells the black guy, like, eyes front, don't look, kind of thing. He like singles him out. I don't know. There was something there.
But then he appears in Teenage Magazine or something. Was it 17 or something?
Anyway, I don't know if we're reading too much into it. Hey, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, for me, like, of the three movies, this one's probably the weakest, but I still like this movie. And maybe it's because I've only seen the extended cut, and I've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
Where like I said, there's definitely times in the movie I'm like, well, are you really just dragging this on? Where, like, it seems like training goes on forever, and it really hampers the viewing of the movie. Where I'm like, oh, this is taking forever to get going here. But I don't know. I regret not seeing the regular version. I thought I watched the regular version this time, but I was mistaken when Richard informed me that the paratrooper scene is in the extended cut. So I know I've seen that on this second viewing here. So
when does the paratrooper scene come in?
It's I think before the graduation.
Okay, yeah.
I think because like they're in their regular clothes still, even too, and I don't know. It's I believe it still is before they graduate and do the mud wrestling thing.
2 hours is too long for a comedy. There is no comedy in the world.
In most cases, yeah.
I want to say, sorry, Kevin. I want to say I think the runtime when you fired up the DVDs where I saw it, it's at 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah, that's
the extended cut,
long.
And I was like, "Geez, this movie is long."
There's no comedy that can go that long. I mean, you can have movies with comedic elements in it, like Forrest Gump, but you gotta mix it up a bit. There's no way that you can expect anyone to laugh for 2 hours.
I'll give you one.
Okay, give me one.
The Big Lebowski is 1 hour and 59 minutes.
See, but even that movie has its serious moments in it. There is.
Well, it's not a goofball comedy,
right?
Like, okay, I'll give you that, because I do believe, like, the other two films we talked about are about 1 hour and a half. But Stripes being over 2 hours. It's a little. It overstays its welcome just a bit. The first time I watched it, I thought the entire ending felt like it was tacked on. I thought their training was going to be, that's it. You hit
Yeah.
graduation. That feels like an ending scene too.
Yep.
When they do the razzle dazzle and all that. But then the whole, let's go to Czechoslovakia and have a wacky shootout, which is fine. But if you didn't have so much other filler before that.
Oh, and I remember, and it's funny how memory is. I remember Bill Murray doing that whole bit with the marching around with the crew with the credits rolling. Because I think the last time I watched this was on VHS, and that's what was in my memory. So as I'm watching it, and we were getting to the hour mark, and they were already in training and passing training, I'm like, this movie isn't that short, is it? Like, what's going on here? There's still like so much more, and I forgot all about the RV and all that part of them going into Czechoslovakia and that stuff. So
Stripes is just the comedic version of the end of the Lord of the Rings. It just goes on and on and on.
At least the extended edition.
Yeah, I think the hour and a half version, like the movie I watched, all of it worked. You know, it did. I would say like the mud wrestling stuff and all that kind of went on a little too long, because we already got it. Like, it really didn't add anything other than boobs, which I think was the reason why it was there. You know, it didn't really add anything to the characters or anything like that. Just kind of, it was there to show that they were goofing off when they were supposed to be training, and they come back.
Right, but then after that, they make a relationship with the two MPs.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but that really could have been cut down. Like, it didn't need to go on.
A lot of the movie could have. Yeah. I actually like the beginning of the movie a bit more than the ending, of them being the losers in their dead end jobs, and you know, that whole scene where Bill Murray's going home and his car gets repossessed and he drops his pizza in the street. You know, that stuff is great. But then training goes on a bit long. There's a few too many characters when they get into training. Psycho, I think his part could have been cut down a little bit more.
Didn't need him,
yeah.
What about? Did you notice that everyone else got like army haircuts, except for Harold Ramis and Bill Murray? They got normal haircuts while everyone else got like head plus.
Yeah, Sarah mentioned that. She's like, only that short? I'm like, well, I think it's still regulation. Yeah, I mean, I remember like I was in cadets, and they asked you if you wanted to go all the way or just go to regulation, you know, which meant like, and most guys went all like, they got their head shaved because they didn't want to have to keep going back for haircuts, right? So it's in the realm of possibility, but I mean, you got to buy into too that these guys were 30 going into the army, which is a little bit late, but I suppose people do that as well, but whatever. All right. Good movie, though. I enjoyed it.
It's good. It could use a little trim, just like the haircut.
Okay. Anyone have anything left to say about Stripes, or are we ready to move on?
Good time. Watch the regular cut.
All right. Movie number 2, Revenge of the Nerds. I guess I should. Do you want me to call it the trailer for this one?
Yeah.
Are we doing
that? Live commentary.
All right. Here we go. Look at this. Sauce adding a new
element.
Yeah. Revenge of the Nerds trailer.
What's the song? Maybe we can hum it or something like that.
Let's see.
There was some Queen in the movie.
They kind of went all out with the
Talking Heads too.
Yeah, with the music licensing for this movie.
I remember a Devo poster.
All right, here we go. What the heck?
2 nerds.
I opened it in the wrong window. Hold on. This is way too much for me to handle.
I do remember the beginning of the trailer. It's like the 20th century. Yeah, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's going too slow.
20th Century Fox keeps going. Let's go. Get into it.
Oh no, there it goes.
No. Oh no, I got Richard internet now. There we go. Oh, these effects aren't very special.
Nerds.
Nerds.
What
That's
is
all
a
the trailer is.
Ah! I'll never kiss a nerd.
I felt really bad when that basketball hit the
Ah.
chessboard.
It's funny seeing
Do you know karate?
No, good. Liquid heat, is that a real thing?
I would just imagine it's like Bengay or Icy Hot.
Yeah.
The hole saw with a built-in silencer.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds. I drink to that.
There you go.
That's a short trailer.
Minute 30, baby. Coming to a theater near you. All right, here we go. Boom. Us back. All right.
Who's
Ryan,
up for the next rundown?
give us the rundown.
At Adams College, a group of bullied outcasts and misfits resolve to fight back for their peace and self-respect. Film stars Robert Carradine, Anthony Edwards, Timothy Bushfield, and everyone's hero Curtis Armstrong. Directed by Jeff Conway? Canoe? Sorry. Writing credits, nobody.
No one wrote
It's got a hour and 30-minute runtime, a budget of $8 million, which is surprising with the licensed music, and a box office of $41 million.
There you go.
Yeah, another success.
Let me start off the fun facts by saying Robert Carradine says that when he read the script, Lewis's laugh was described as a goose honk, and he wasn't sure how to do it. When James Cromwell, who played Lewis's father, did the laugh, Carradine mimicked it. James Cromwell has said that he realized while driving home from the studio on the first day of production, it was the laugh that he came up with was his ex-wife's. So there you go.
Poindexter's glasses are so thick that Timothy Busfield?
I don't know.
Timothy Busfield could not see through them. In scenes where he moves, he is usually guided by a companion, which seemed to be a running gag of just... I assume that was in the script of like everyone was just constantly pointing him in the right direction.
Yeah, I thought he just couldn't see very well, but
No.
obviously he couldn't see very well.
John Goodman's character is never referred to by name verbally by any character in the film. His name, Coach Harris, can only be seen on the door in the locker room in the ending credits.
Fun fact. In recent years, many retrospectives of the film and cast interviews have reached a unanimous conclusion. The sequence where Lewis has sex with Betty after telling her he's Stan Gable is wildly problematic and could never be used in a present-day film. Julia Montgomery said she was uncomfortable with the way that Stan and Betty were put together, and Timothy Busfield said, "I think they would have gotten there some other way." Or they could have gotten there some other way.
Wait a minute. The way Stan and Betty were put together?
I
mean Lewis and Betty?
It would be Lewis and Betty. Stan.
Right.
Who's Stan?
Stan is Ted McGinley.
Yeah, it's the guy from what's his face from Married with Children.
Right. He's from everything.
Jefferson Darcy.
Yeah, he ruins TV shows.
Ted McGinley is the guy who comes onto a television show before it gets canceled.
Right.
He joins the cast late on. Love Boat, Happy Days, Married with Children.
Yeah, but Married with Children went like another 7 seasons with him.
That's true. Jefferson Darcy was a good character, but I also liked Steve.
So for me, I have not seen this movie, I guess, since the 80s, because as I started watching it, I didn't remember a damn thing. I think one of the movies I had on VHS when I was a kid must have been Revenge of the Nerds Part 2 or Part 3, because I remember Booger finding marijuana out in the tropics somewhere or something.
Part 2.
So I guess that was part two that we had on. I started watching this. I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I thought it was pretty good. Script was a little derived of so many other things, but it had its funny moments. And I don't know. Some of the nerds didn't really feel like nerds to me. Like Booger, all he had to do was stop picking his nose, and he would have been like someone I'd hang out with. He seemed pretty cool to me.
It's a misfits, right? He's a misfit.
I guess, but it's just all he does is pick his nose. That's the only wrong thing he does. Everything else, he's got the good weed. He's got he's good with the ladies, sort of. I don't know. I mean, David Carradine got laid like twice in this movie. I don't know how much of nerds these guys are. Anyways, it was a fun movie.
Don't you hang out with enough people to know that nerds come in all different sizes, shapes, and varieties?
No, I have one vision of what a nerd is, and if it doesn't fall into that, then you're not a nerd. Ryan.
So I want to say I've seen this movie a ton since, and it goes back to even being a kid. But I want to say I think I only saw as a child I saw the edited for television version. So I was it was one of those ones where I didn't see it until I think I bought this movie for the first time when I was in high school, because there's a 2-pack, and I still own the DVD of it, where it's got the first 2 movies on it. And I remember like watching that for the first time, like, wow, there's a lot of nudity in this movie, and I didn't realize it, so much so because the only version I saw was edited for basic television. So I think it's a hilarious movie still to this day, despite some of the controversial scenes like that. I mean, I can laugh at some of those things, like the javelin throw for Lamar with the design for his limp-wristed throwing style.
Yeah.
I think it's still a funny movie, and I think actually the sequel is, I don't want to say just as good. It's also a good time. The second movie. I want to say the fourth movie was a made-for-Fox movie. I can't recall what the third one is. I have a bundle pack, and I don't think I've ever watched the third or the fourth one for a long time.
I haven't seen. I think maybe I've seen little bits and pieces of some of the sequels, never the whole things. But I think it was the first 2 were theatrical, and then 3 and 4 went straight to video, or Fox or whatever.
I want to say at least the fourth one was like an after football Sunday movie or something like that, when there was no, like, when the Simpsons weren't on at the time or something like that. Not before, like the Simpsons might sort of not been on that Sunday for some reason, but I recall watching it on like Fox when it aired, and then I think it was like straight to VHS, like you can rent it from the video store after that.
I'm the same way. When I was a kid, I saw this on television, and I thought it was pretty funny, and I haven't seen it since. So a lot of the all the swearing and the nudity and everything, I think this is my first time to actually see the entire film. But back in the 80s, though, getting this on TV, they had to cut the serious stuff, but the tone was still there. There's still a lot of what's going on.
Those moves sure knew how to party.
I didn't find them.
Yeah, it's not the most graceful movie. There are plenty of things you could pick at. I guess the one criticism that everybody kind of shares is the sex scene at the end and the moon between the 2 characters, whether that's considered rape or even just extremely immoral, how it goes. But there are a lot of other racial jokes or gender jokes or other just things that are really just immature or inappropriate by today's standards. And like you said, some of it you can still laugh at. But I didn't find that there was too much that crossed the line in a bad way. I mean, humor is supposed to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I agree. I was actually impressed. I thought I was prepared for a lot worse. Like I'd heard that the scene, like there was what is now considered to be a rape scene, and that wouldn't have been back then, or it was always rape, but it's just kind of like the perspective has changed.
Yeah.
But when I watched it, I'm like, okay, I see what everyone's saying, but it wasn't that bad. I mean,
there wasn't any forcing, and it was consensual, but there was
yeah, it's definitely a gray
it's
area.
A gray zone.
But
it's a strong gray zone.
And yeah, and it's, I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. When what's the gay character's name? I can't remember.
Lamar.
Yeah, when Lamar showed up, I'm like, oh man, this isn't going to be good. We're going down a bad path here. But no one ever, like, all it was just like who he is. They never made fun of him for it. There was never anything said about him. And the fact that he was black too, like there was nothing, derogatory said against him or anything like that. They
the fact that he wasn't accepted by others,
right,
just put him in this category of,
right.
He's with the outcasts,
right?
They weren't even really nerds as much as they were outcasts.
Yeah,
because at the end of the film, they get to the, have you ever been, cast aside because of this or that or whatever, and you're a nerd, and then all the people come in. So it's like, we're all ostracized from the popular group for different reasons. Because even then, like in Stripes, one of the first scenes when they go into the army recruiting place, there's the guy asking the questions like, are you homosexuals?
Right.
Yeah.
At the time, the early 80s, it was still, a taboo.
Yeah, but even he says, like, it's just a question we have to ask. He didn't even really care. It was just something that they had to ask.
We're willing to learn.
Yeah,
I'm willing to learn. That was a good line. Revenge of the Nerds Part 2 came out in 1987 called Nerds in Paradise. Part 3 came out in 1992 called The Next Generation. And Part 4 came out in 1994 called Nerds in Love. And it was a made-for-TV movie.
Okay.
So there you go. Points for Rocket Sauce.
I remember watching that live. Like I said, I was a fan of the original 2 movies that I saw growing up, because I think we even had maybe taped on VHS just for like to watch, like to kill time for me and my sister or something like that to watch. I don't know. There's stuff I still laugh back at this movie, like the whole Tri-Lambs getting accepted in a Tri-Lambda. The only fraternity they submitted to that didn't submit their pictures for.
Right.
Because of their oath or something, they have to get a trial or something like that. That's part of their rule book. But I don't know. I still think it's a really good movie, a fun movie to watch.
Hey, I just got to interrupt for a second. Check out this lineup of actors for Revenge of the Nerds Part 4. So returning, we got Robert Carradine, Curtis Armstrong, Julia Montgomery, Ted McGinley, a couple of people I don't recognize. And then down here on the list, our friend Robert Picardo.
Hey! That's quality right there.
Now it's a must watch. Now I have to see it. I have to see.
Have you seen Sauce? You said you still have Part 2. Have you seen it recently?
Not recently, but I remember enjoying. I can still. There's parts of it I know completely. Like the Booger gets kind of like his own sensei with I forgot what the Asian actor's name in the movie is, but he basically teaches him how to belch better. And I remember Ogre becomes a nerd in it. Because he gets outcasted on that island with him for messing up too many times. So,
yeah, I gotta say that the most cringe parts in the movie were those stupid skits that all the sororities and
Dead End.
Oh yeah,
Dead
the
End.
garbage
Dead
stuff.
End.
Yeah, those were cringe. Like those were like, oh man, that's just really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, but once you get to the Bill and Ted, extravaganza of the nerd production.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That stood out to me as a kid. That was like, wow, this is cool. And now Booger's like Elvis? Are you kidding me? And Poindexter's cool with the Liberty Spikes.
Did you guys like here in Canada? I think we have those alma mater things or whatever. I don't know. I think we have
fraternities and stuff.
Fraternities and sororities and all that stuff. We have those in our universities, but not in the colleges. Did you guys have to do that? Like going to school in the States, did you have to join a fraternity or? I've
honestly never understood this whole system of fraternities and sororities. For me, it only exists in the movies, and I don't understand why they have them or what you're supposed to do to get in them. Or what the benefit is of being in them.
I think the only true benefit is that, like, if you put it on a resume, like, oh, you're like whatever, you belong to this, and if someone was belonging to this same fraternity, it might help you get hired. I don't know. That's the only thing I can.
I remember that from The Simpsons when Homer's trying to get a job, and Smithers like, oh, it's not my alma mater, buddy, and whatever.
That's but that's the only thing I can ever think of. I've only been to parties where I was in a band in high school that we played one in Madison, and I've also been to one for just like going to like a Badger game, just across the streets and everything. I've only been to I don't even know what membership. It's just like a friend dragged me to, like, hey, we're just gonna go to this one. I'm like, okay, whatever. So nothing like we're seeing everyone wearing the uniforms ever, whatever. I never went to, I never joined one or went to I guess, sign up for one anywhere. So
I have no idea. I guess the only benefit, is that if you know one of your buddies, because I think everybody's image of it is something like Revenge of the Nerds, like, oh, you were in one of those alcohol-fueled party houses in college. Sure, I'll hire you.
I went to that same one.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like, oh, you screwed up too?
Yeah.
Come on over.
I don't get it. All right. Okay, but still good, fun movie. Enjoyed it. I think
worth a watch too. Sequel's worth a watch.
Okay, I guess that's one I had on tape, and I remember we watched it a lot when we were kids. But yeah, this one I didn't remember as much, but still good.
Do you like the whole trials before the final event? Do you like the having to drink beer and do laps with a tricycle? But I don't know. I don't see how anyone can do 21 beers on a tricycle.
No,
I don't see how a university could promote first-year students who are most likely under the legal drinking age to participate in a alcohol.
Yeah, especially in the States, you guys are 21 there. It's 19
Yeah.
here, so it's a little more believable here. But yeah.
Well, I mean, the believability is out the door when you first see David Carradine, and he looks like a 30-year-old man going to college.
Well, that was 80s comedies, right? Like everyone
Yeah.
was playing younger characters. You never had.
Anthony Edwards was at least a little closer to believability. You know, He had a little baby face on him, but most of the others,
What kind of moving case is that, too? That thing, it must weigh a ton. They're moving all their clothes in and everything. That moving case that they're carrying and walking through the mud from.
Yeah, that was definitely a MacGuffin.
It needed their robot.
Yes, that's true.
Just visual prop. That's it.
Yeah, is it one that attacks Poindexter while they're cleaning their house?
I really liked Poindexter in that he didn't say much. He just reacted to different things, whether it was screaming, falling down, or bumping into things.
And did you guys catch the nerd playing video games? Because video games was very nerdy in the 80s.
Oh yeah, Wormser.
Yeah.
That and I was gonna say, like, how they just clean a house, and there's nothing completely wrong with this broken down house that's just got spider webs everywhere. Just got
they just need to dust it.
Just need to scrub it up.
Yeah. All right, that's Revenge of the Nerds. Good times. Ready to move on? You said it all.
Sure.
Okay. Here we go with what the heck's the next one? Oh yes, Major League. Major League. So, what the heck are we doing?
I think it's you. You're on the rundown. Oh, trailer.
I'm doing the rundown?
Sorry, trailer first.
Trailer.
Sorry.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I guess I really do rely on this rundown because I had minimized it. So here we go. Can I do this? Here we go. Here's a
You're
trailer.
getting faster.
So, Cleveland Indians Stadium.
Are they still called the Cleveland Indians?
Till the end of this year, I think. They're changing it next year.
Boom, 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 boom.
Is this trailer? It said it was trailer. Maybe it was
like they're rolling right up here.
Well, this is when the guy starts
Trailer.
talking. Trailer guy is talking.
No, nobody's talking. I can hear it. Nobody's saying anything.
Wish we had them 4 years ago. Or 2 years ago. We did. 4 years ago then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just Tom Berenger just walking up.
Walking around.
Adrian Serrano.
Yeah.
There we go.
Escaped Cuba to practice religion. What's his religion? Voodoo.
This is not a trailer.
It's just the ensemble.
Yeah, walking up to spring training.
Oh, this is good enough. I'm going with it.
Roger Dorn. This is one of the best entrances right here. I don't understand it. It's why it's great. Just the finger point and roll. I thought we didn't have any high-paid players here. I did too. It's forgettable. It's just high-paid. or his talent as high paid talent. There it is. Point. Sorry.
Just acknowledging his butt.
Yeah. I love the vehicle here too.
Yes. There's something in the fun facts
Mm-hmm.
for this car. That's it.
That's a trailer?
Hey.
I don't think that was really a trailer.
Wow.
Whatever.
Who needs Charlie Sheen?
Who's that? Okay, rundown. The new owner of the Cleveland Indians puts together a purposely horrible team so they'll lose, and she can move the team. But when the plot is uncovered, they start winning just to spite her. Hold on, the auto roll is rolling the real trailer now. Mute that. Film stars Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Corbin Bernsen, and everyone's hero, Bob Uecker. Director is David Ward. The writer is David Ward. The runtime is 1 hour and 47 minutes. The budget for the film was $11 million, and box office worldwide, it made $50 million in 1989. Fun facts. Richard, give us the first fun fact.
The home game scenes were filmed at Milwaukee's County Stadium, which has since been torn down. The exterior stadium shots use Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, which has since been torn down.
Many tricks were used to make the actors seem like they're good at their characters. The pitching mound was moved in 10 feet closer to home plate to give the impression that Charlie Sheen's 85 mile per hour fastball was traveling at 100 miles per hour. All of Wesley Snipes' running scenes were shown in slow motion to give the impression that he's running faster than he actually is. And David Ward said Snipes was so awful at throwing the baseball that they avoided as many scenes as avoided as many scenes of him throwing one. I'll throw in a fun fact for here. That scene where he's catching the home run ball in the playoff, that's not him. That's a local Milwaukee celebrity, softball celebrity, one of the best players that was in Milwaukee that they subbed in for him. I wish I knew his name. My father does because he played against him many times. So,
fun fact.
Fun fact.
The vehicle that Willie Mays Hayes drives to opening day of spring training is a customized VW Beetle with a Rolls-Royce grille, replacement trunk, and hood ornament. The Elegant Beetle Kit, as one was called, was popular in the mid-70s to mid-80s until Rolls-Royce sued a company responsible for one of the conversion kits. I had no idea that was a real thing. I thought that was just I thought it was a gag for this movie.
So you could just dress up your Beetle as a Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I mean, if I'm not a car guy, but that's something I would probably love to have. I think that it's incredible because it definitely does gussy up a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yep.
In the film's original ending, Rachel Phelps admits before the final game that her bitchy persona was all an act in order to fire up the players. She said had they not had a good season, the team might have gone bankrupt. Audiences preferred the bitchy Rachel, so the ending was reshot to show her misery when the Indians won. The alternate ending appears on the Wild Thing Edition DVD. Not
and
Blu-ray,
I have
DVD.
watched that alternate ending, and it is terrible. It's
awful she was
because
just a nasty character.
Yeah, well, and you kind of feel bad for her because of all the stuff they kind of did to her throughout the movie. You know, like they put up her photo and they're peeling away parts of her dress and all that stuff. So it doesn't work.
She was a good antagonist.
Yes, and they had to keep her as one. Like, why would you change that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because even in private scenes where she's just with her assistant, she still has the persona. So it's not like it was only her who has she was putting an act on for everybody.
It didn't make any sense. So the direction they went was right. So this was the movie I did not watch. And let me tell you why. Because you guys moved around the movie so many times, I got confused and I watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High yesterday instead.
We never had that as part of the
I had it in my head that was one of the movies. I pulled out the Blu-ray and put it beside my chair to remind myself to watch it. And I watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High yesterday, and I even made some notes. And then when I sat down to do the outline today, I'm like, that wasn't one of the movies.
You just wanted to see a red bikini.
I did. And I did. Well, here's the thing. We were just talking about. I had already watched like the last half of the movie because they made me do that at work. So sat there and watched it again, but it was fine. But I remember a lot about Major League. I just watched it last year. I bought the Blu-ray last year, so it's still all up in here. So don't worry, I got it. Still a great movie. Bob Uecker steals the show. What else is there to say?
If I didn't even watch it, I would still probably have enough to say for this movie because this movie I generally watch like once a year. Mostly, I would say I would watch it always probably early spring, right before baseball starts, because it's one of those movies where I'm like, all right, I'm starting to get that, hunger to watch baseball here, and it's one of those. It's my favorite, I guess, baseball movie. I know a lot of people like, probably. I'm trying to think, what's that? Field of Dreams. Everyone, people like that one, or Bull Durham, but Major League's my favorite of the baseball movies.
It's definitely the funniest, and it actually had some like real, like I don't think Field of Dreams or Bull Durham had any like real impact on baseball, where Major League did, because even though there were closers that were coming into like they would come into the game with a song, it was usually the guy doing the audio for the stadium that would come up with a song for them. Whereas after this movie with Wild Thing and Charlie Sheen coming on with the song Wild Thing, like closers started asking for their own song, and that started a whole thing, like especially throughout the 90s, like every closer had their song kind of thing. So I think Major League is the only baseball movie to have a real impact on actual baseball.
Well, it's the second baseball movie that we've watched for a Filmdango. We did see A League of Their Own. But yeah, I'm with Sauce. Major League is definitely, this is only the second time I've seen it. It's another movie that I got into fairly lately. But the first time I saw it, it hit me hard. Like, this is a really good movie. It's total comfort. You can just put this on, and even when the scenes are coming, it's like you anticipate those jokes, and you just learn to love it. And now with the added benefit of knowing there's a special cameo in there. So I guess, Kevin, you didn't watch it, so I guess you didn't spot the sauce.
No, so I'm going to have to... Did you notice him?
I believe so.
Yeah. What's time? Do you have a time for me so I can...
Tell me if I'm right on this, Ryan, but it's at the end of the movie after Charlie Sheen comes in, does his Wild Thing, and then he's got to strike out the New York Yankees batter guy. And then after he does, they cut to that like Jumbotron, and it goes, awesome! And then there's a crowd reaction shot. Lower left-hand corner, I see maybe 8 or 9-year-old Sauce. How old were you when this was done?
So this movie came out in '89, so I was 5.
5. Wow. Okay, I'm off there.
So I was probably 4, because I think they filmed this in '88.
You had DVDs in high school, so you had to be young.
I had to. I did ask my mom and dad a while ago. I'm like, where were we? Because my parents were like, yeah, we were all there. We were there. Me, you, your sister. Because they're like, this was a big deal. They were filming a lot of movies in Milwaukee. Like the Blues Brothers has that scene on the home bridge where they drive the Nazis fall to their death and everything. That was filmed in Milwaukee. That's downtown Milwaukee. There's a few other movies I think that just took place in the 80s where it's because it was adjacent to like Chicago or something. I don't know. Maybe filming was like a thing for like Milwaukee or Wisconsin, gave like tax cuts to like film. For some reason, Milwaukee had a lot of like filming going on. And I guess parts of Milwaukee look like downtown Cleveland. I've been to Cleveland. I don't really see it so much, but I know they used a lot of Milwaukee. Like Bob Uecker is still to this day one of the announcers for the Brewers, and I actually got to meet him about a month ago for the first time because
nice.
where I work, he comes in. His accountant. I work for an accounting firm. I'm not an accountant, but his accountant, is in our office, and he comes in like every couple months to check the status, I guess, of his money or something like that. But I got called up because our receptionist knows I'm a big Brewer fan and everything, and I did not mention a thing. She was just like, "Hey, Bob, this is Ryan, the RT guy," basically. And then his accountant came by, and he's just like, "Oh, let's go over, and talk some more." So I'm like, I got basically just like my acknowledge a wave to Bob. That's all I needed to do. But no, so yeah, Bob, Pete Vukovich, who is Haywood for the Yankees, he's a former Brewer pitcher. He's kind of was a local legend. Him and Gorman Thomas, no relation. They had a bar here in the 80s for the longest time too that my parents frequent. But a lot of the players, my father was supposed to be the first base coach for the Yankees in this movie as well. His buddy who he played softball with was in charge of casting for local talent. Tim Sweeney, who plays second base for the Indians in this movie, was the second baseman on my father's softball team as well. So what's it called? Like, my father was supposed to go, but he wussed out at the last moment to go in for the casting part. So he said, basically, just show up. You at this spot. Basically, my dad just wussed out. So we were there for the night of the filming for Wild Thing, and believe me, it wasn't 50,000 people in attendance for that. That was more crowd manipulation where they filmed. Yeah. And then, because my mom said we were on the second level of the filming for the filming. And they said they would shift everyone then to the middle, film it again, shift to left. And they said we were there, I think, for like 2.5 hours just doing the Wild Thing scene. So,
yeah, it's too expensive to have that many people.
Yeah.
You'd have to supply. Like once you get to a certain number of people, you got to start supplying food, and you got a place for them to go to the bathroom and all that stuff. So yeah.
What I thought was really interesting though is when I was trying to find you, I think the woman standing directly behind you is wearing one of those red and white striped "Where's Waldo" shirts.
I would have to ask my mom if she remembers exactly where we were to point us out, basically, but. It wasn't the only baseball movie I was in. There's another one called Mr. 3000 that was in the early 2000s.
With Bernie Mac?
Bernie Mac, yeah.
That one, actually, I can point to at least 2 areas where I was for the filming of the movie. One where I think I see myself if I slow it down. There's like a scene where he gets like his first hit on his way back. We're at the first baseline, me and my buddy Danny were, because they filmed that multiple nights, and at Major League did the same thing too, where they filmed like during the day, during the night, basically multiple nights. After Brewer games for Mr. 3000, they would do that stuff too. But yeah, for that one, we were there for that one. I can attest those are long days filming where after about an hour or two, you get sick of being there doing the same scenes over and over and over again. And crowd manipulation. They put cardboard cutouts for people for that one. So I'm in 2 baseball movies that were filmed here in Milwaukee. So
if you do one more, then we could just do a Filmdango on all the movies you've been in.
Well, let's get the credits going for that.
True that.
Yeah, get some more baseball movies here.
So are you here to say you are officially a better or more bankable actor than Curtis?
Maybe a little of both.
Maybe. Let's test this one here.
I think, I don't know if I should say this, but I think your movies have been more successful than Curtis's movies.
True.
If you compare box office numbers.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Wow, that's cool. I love.
Are we doing the Trolls episode now?
I think we're trolling.
So Major League,
yes, still a good movie. Still funny.
That's really funny. Very likable characters. A lot of times when you get these, the big ensemble cast, we were talking about that bit with the earlier movies. Here, it's like everybody has something. There's not just empty characters. Like Psycho and Stripes kind of goes a little nowhere. And I think in the Nerds movie, kind of everybody had a little something to do. You probably could have got rid of that Wormser kid. But here it feels like everybody has their little moment, like Charlie Sheen has got the power in his pitch, but he needs to learn how to control it. And he does. And then you got Willie Mays Hayes, who's really fast, and he has his moment to, steal a base. And you got the, what was the name of the voodoo guy?
Adrian Serrano. Can't hit the
Serrano,
curveball.
Yeah. He couldn't hit the curveball. So he had his whole religion, and he has his arc, and even the antagonists on the team, the rich guy Dorn, and he gets his comeuppance, and the other guy who drinks the rum.
I'm
gets hit in
blanking
the
his
head
name,
with the
yeah.
bat, whatever it is. So they all have their little moments, and none of it feels like forced in. It all flows nicely. An hour and 47 minutes. It works.
Goes by
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's all about Bob Uecker and all those ad-libbed scenes, like when he puts the Jack Daniels on him and that, like all that stuff was just like him talking, like just like there was nothing in the script, right? It was just go, and it reminded me a lot of Fred Willard in Best in Show or in.
I was
Mighty
just gonna
Wind.
say, like, is your dream
That's my
movie
thing.
Bob Uecker and Fred Ward just
Fred Willard.
Fred
Yes.
Willard, sorry,
Yes.
just sitting there in an announcer's booth, just riffing.
Man, I would love that so much. That would have been magic. I could just sit there and watch that stuff all day. I just love it. I love just guys busting chops and making up stuff on the fly, and that's my kind of humor.
He had one great line is like his color commentator says something like, "Are you allowed to say that?" He's like, nobody's listening.
You can't say shit on the air, right? Or Christ, is it shit? I don't know. My favorite line probably still is the part where it's like, if you haven't been paying attention to the Indians this year, and judging by the attendance, you haven't.
Yeah.
No, it's I'm blessed to listen to Uecker still, and I mean,
That's
there's been talks that he's he's not doing it full time anymore.
Is he now?
I think he's in 91
Wow.
maybe. Because there's been talks about Bob retiring for a while, and I don't know who they're gonna get to replace. I mean, the guys that fill in do a good job, but you need kind of like the little bit of a humor that Bob brings in. Well, I can recall there's one thing that Bob said on the air while I was listening to Brewer Game. I was driving home, and they were talking about like owning a dog or something like that. And he's like, the guy who I think is Jeff Levering, who's the guy who was doing the broadcast with him. He said, like, "Hey Bob, did you ever have a dog growing up?" He goes, "Yeah, my sister." And it's called like, and he like paused himself. He's like, "I really shouldn't have said that." And he's like, 85 Bob Uecker.
85.
He's not the kind of guy that you can replace. It's just he's one of those personalities.
Yeah.
And he was a baseball player too. People forget that.
Yep, that's right. He wasn't a very good one, and he'll tell you that. And who doesn't? Like, I mean, I still go around the house saying just a bit outside. Mm-hmm. Anytime I miss something, and I do that all the time because I miss stuff all the time, like watching the right movie.
People got their favorite broadcasters, and I mean, people really like Vin Scully and everything, but to me, Bob's the best. And
it's your local guy, like, of course.
Well, yeah. Well, the ties in with Major League and everything else, the humor. I know it's the local bias, right? But for me, it's what's called, like, Bob was someone I always wanted to meet, and I've met him twice now once because of work and once because I went to a fan fair. But it's the same much. So Bob is a local legend here, and just it makes the movie better even for me. So, I don't
know. He's 80% of the movie for me. I love every scene he's in.
Well, yeah, it's also like, besides, Bob does get animated when like there's big moments in Brewer games too. So like that whole like the Indians win it, the Indians win it. I've heard calls like that for the Brewers, and what's called like those are the moments that like if you're attending like a Brewer game or like listening to it, like you saw like Brewers make the playoffs or something like that, you go back and listen to like Bob and make the call, because those are like Bob nails that perfectly. So.
Yeah. Americans really like, especially in baseball, an announcer who's a homer, who's a fan of the home team. In Canada, we're very like prickly about that. We want like the guy to be neutral for some reason. I think it's a hockey thing because there's so many hockey teams, and I don't know why. It's gotten a lot better like in the last 10 years or so. Like people have gotten really lax with that. But like growing up, like watching the Blue Jays or even listening to them on the radio, like the two guys on there had to be neutral all the time. They just had to be baseball fans. It's just a weird thing. I don't know why. But in America, it's like every announcer seemed to be a homer for their home team, Mm-hmm. But anyways, enough about baseball announcing talk. Back to Major League. Good movie. There's nothing else to say.
Have you seen any of the sequels?
I haven't, but I'm curious. I heard the second one is decent and the third one is terrible. But it feels like one of those movies that, like, even again, I haven't seen the Revenge of the Nerds sequels, but it feels like Police Academy and Stripes and all this stuff. It's like you said everything you had to say in the first movie. That's it. It's just the outcasts coming together, overcoming. The end. That's the story.
Well, and for some reason they keep neutering these franchises. Like this one was rated R. Second one is rated PG. The third one is rated PG-13. The third movie I saw in a drive-in. It's the only one and only. Well, I was in a drive-in when I was 5, but the one and only time I went to a drive-in on my own. Got bitten alive by mosquitoes, so I'm never going back. But the two movies we saw were U.S. Marshals and Major League Back in Training, I think. And for some reason, Back to the Minors. For some reason, the team moved to Minnesota. I guess because Cleveland was actually good in the late 90s. They actually were in the playoffs and that. And Minnesota was the bad team. It's probably just whatever deal they could get for, rights and shooting location and all that. But yeah, it's terrible. Your buddy Scott Bakula is the star. And
does he play the Tom Berenger character, or is he a new?
He's a manager, I believe. He's the manager. He was too old to be a baseball player. So I believe he was the young manager and the team was the Misfits. I don't remember too much about it. It was 1998.
Oh, wow, that late?
Yeah, that was that long ago, man. And yeah, it's terrible.
I want to say that one just goes straight to DVD as well, because I don't remember ever coming to theaters. I just remember it showing up on the shelves too.
No, it was in theater because I saw it at the drive-in. We really went to go see U.S. Marshals because Sarah and I we love The Fugitive, and that was the sequel, U.S. Marshals, right? But it didn't have The Fugitive in it. It only had the Tommy Lee Jones character. It wasn't a very good movie. So we hoped Major League Back to the Minors would save the day, and it didn't. I think we might have left because we were just getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So we might have left before the movie was done. It was bad.
What is it with all these sequels that go back to the beginning, right? Like Police Academy 3, Back in Training, Back to the Minors.
You have to once
The Next Generation.
Once your characters accomplish something, you need to
you got to do it again.
Well, they're underdogs, right? Like that's the whole part of the appeal of this movie is that your characters are underdogs and they're not expected to do it. And that you're rooting for the underdog thing. Once they're champions, I mean, they're going to come back and they're going to be champions again. You got to make them underdogs again. Same thing with Ghostbusters too, right? They saved the world. So how do you make them underdogs again? Well, no one really recognized that they saved the world. In fact, they stomped them down,
Major League 2 was okay. It's not the best, but there's moments that I do like from the sequel. I don't own it, so I can only go off memory from it. I just remember there's a scene with Jesse the Body Ventura with the replacement for Willie Mays Hayes. I can't remember who, because Wesley Snipes didn't return for the sequel.
Right.
So they got some other black guy, and they said, "You're Willie Mays Hayes." So there's because he becomes a big time movie actor, and maybe I don't know if that was a shot at maybe Wesley Snipes or something like that, because he was becoming a big time actor at this point in time. And the second one came out in '94. But no, it was he makes a trailer called Black Lightning, White Thunder or something like that. I just remember there's a line where it's like, "Mine died the hardest," and then he's like, "Mine are the deadest," and then they just laugh. It's a scene I look forward to every time. And then they added an Asian guy to the roster, and he says no. He's got a rivalry with Serrano. I remember they did the no marbles part. That's the only thing I truly remember from the sequel. Well, that and Randy Quaid's and one of the guys in the outfield, one of the fans in the sequel, not in the first one.
Is Bob Uecker in the part 2?
Yep.
All right. Well, I might have to watch it then.
The sequel, I think, was filmed in Baltimore too, so
okay,
it's good. So
there we go.
Okay.
All right, Major League. Have we said it all? Is there anything left to say?
I want a pair of the Wild Thing glasses with the little skull and crossbones in the center.
I think you can get those on.
They had
I'm pretty sure.
So another fun fact that was supposed to be I don't know, Kevin, I don't remember when Cleveland had their opening day in Milwaukee.
Yes.
10 years ago or something like that, where they
Yeah.
played the Angels because there was a blizzard hitting Cleveland.
Right.
So they moved to Milwaukee, which has an indoor stadium now.
Right.
So they played here in Milwaukee, and tickets were $10 all across the board, first come, first serve. And we got first row. We had like the closest seats I've ever had at a Brewer game, which is the row of the batter's box, not the batter's box, the dugouts for the Indians. And what's it called? Yeah, we had top row. And of course, that was supposed to be the promotional giveaway, and I guess they didn't arrive or something like that, was supposed to be Wild Thing glasses for that day, because it was opening day for them. So they still celebrate it. But I don't know, they made Wild Thing bobblehead that my buddy grabbed for me because he went to go see an Indians game later that year. So I think there was maybe some anniversary of Major League that they're doing multiple Major League thing giveaways that year. So,
and I think last year they came out with Major League Funko Pops, and none of the Funko Pops was wearing the Indians uniform because of the whole.
Did they still have that logo and everything?
They dropped Chief Wahoo, I think is what his name is. I think they dropped him, so he's just got this. They just have a Cleveland C. They've been doing that one for a while, but they occasionally would mix it in. But I think the last couple of years they've dropped Chief Wahoo from their logos, from their uniforms. So
are they
the team that was known as the Redskins and then they changed to the Indians, or is
that's
something
else?
That's a football team,
football thing
for Washington DC.
Yeah,
now
and a lot
the
of
Washington football team.
I've noticed a lot of announcers refuse to call them the Indians. They'll just say the Cleveland, or the team from Cleveland. Fun fact.
And get with the times.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be something else next year. So
Native Americans,
and they had different names back. Like when they first came in, they were the Spiders, the Cleveland Spiders, and then they were the Cleveland Naps, because Nap Lajoie was their best player, and the team named themselves after their best player. Because back in those days, the owners would own the player, right? There was like, if you were traded, that was seen as like something bad, because you were just so bad that they would trade you. But if you were a good player, the owner would keep you locked in.
Do you think the swearing works really well in this movie? Because I would say out of the other two movies, this one, I think the swearing is used perfectly, I think, in Major League.
I think for these kind of comedies, I like when they're rated R and they just go all out. It's, you said it yourself in the sequel, it's like it's PG and PG-13, whatever. It feels like you're censored. That they set a tone.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, swearing can be funny. It makes me laugh. Like
it's the juxtaposition, something silly like baseball, and then make it really aggressive with the comedy.
Yeah. Well, that joke, that Bob Uecker joke, would not work unless he cussed right on air. It would just, you couldn't have that joke without it. So,
I do love the opening part too, when the locals are seeing like the roster, and everyone's like, these guys aren't too fucking good, and they even like translated from Japanese for the grounds crew guys, like, these guys are really shitty.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a lot of great moments. In movies, there's often the entrance scene of like here comes the character, and the Wild Thing entrance is just like perfect. It nails it. I get all amped up. It's like the song is perfect. The build up of where is he? He comes out, and he's got that determined look on his face.
It works.
All right. Anything left to say about Major League before we wrap this up?
What was it like partying with Charlie Sheen as you were filming your scenes?
Those days are such a haze. The 80s were wild,
Do you actually remember it at all? Like, do you remember being there? No,
I don't. It's just one of those things my parents are like, you were there. I'm like, I was, and I've been watching this movie. I think this is one of those R-rated movies my parents were like fine with, because it's just was my childhood. If there wasn't nudity in it, like my parents like, you can watch it. They don't care. Basically, like, not so much, I guess, violence either, but if it's just swearing, like Major League was just swearing, like my parents were like, you can watch this. So this was probably one of the first R-rated movies I did watch growing up. So
yeah, my parents were really lax with movies. For some reason, they had a pickle up their ass with a lot of things like Nintendo and Nintendo games, but when it came to movies, they just did not care. And when Sarah and I were watching Revenge of the Nerds, I was like, can you imagine? Like, I was like, I was probably 9 or 10 when I watched it, because it came out in '84, so it took a year before it would come out on VHS. And I'm like, can you imagine? Like, my parents just did not care. They let me watch Revenge of the Nerds and Revenge of the Nerds Part 2 over and over again. I remember my aunts coming over to watch Revenge of the Nerds because they didn't have a VCR, so they came over and watched it. And, anyways, yeah. Okay, that's it. We're done. We said it all. Ready to move on. Let's wrap it up. What did we learn? We've learned that we pick 3 movies and we stick to them because Kevin gets confused. We start jumping around and we'll watch the wrong movie.
Comfort food. I agree with that statement. These are
comfort
all 3 movies.
food. Yeah. Yes, that describes these movies perfectly. Comfort food.
Yeah, I didn't really feel that that Fandango angst of like, oh, I gotta watch these 3 movies. I was just able to put them on, like, it's great. Homework done.
Well, it kind of works when you pick the movies too. Like, these were your choice.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. We've picked them before, and it's like, it's great. We're gonna watch. Oh god, 2.5 hours.
Well, yeah, they were all short movies too, so that kind of helps. I think next month, this is a good segue. I think next month these are all short movies. We're doing Curtis's Revenge for Halloween. He's picked 3 movies with trolls in them. So we're watching Trolls 2 from 1990, The Troll Hunter from 2010, and Ernest Scared Stupid from 1991. We're putting Ernest last for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but there is one.
I figured that when he was mentioning they were going to do a Trolls movie, I figured he would pick Ernest Scared Stupid because he likes Ernest a lot. And it's got trolls in it.
And rumor has it, Curtis will be on for that episode, and rumor has it Curtis will be dressing up as Ernest.
Costumes will be involved.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Coming up in November, we'll have Ryan back for his 3 movies, coming of age movies. One of them is Stand By Me, and I can't remember what the other 2 are. So Ryan, please.
I thought it was only Stand By Me. Did we?
No, I bumped it up to Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and and Rushmore.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna write that in now because I'm gonna forget. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead. Any reason why you chose these 3 films?
The main reason was Stand By Me. I just wanted an excuse to watch Stand By Me, and then just trying to think of 2 other ones. Like, I just Googled coming of age movies, and Rushmore appeared on the list. And I love Rushmore. I forgot about it. I haven't seen it in a few years, but it stars one of my favorite actors in Jason Schwartzman, and like, I think Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead also appeared. I was like, you know what? I saw that movie at a drive-in, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been probably 15 years since I've seen it, so I'm kind of curious to see if it still holds up. But Richard is correct with the whole Clay shooting the plates with the shotgun, saying the dishes are done. That scene is definitely in the movie.
Done, man.
That scene is definitely in the movie. So,
speaking of Jason Schwartzman, have you seen the movie? What the heck's it called? Moonrise Kingdom by Wes Anderson. I just watched that a couple. He's got a good little part in that movie.
I like almost everything. I don't think I've ever seen anything that he was in that I didn't like. So,
Jason Schwartzman? I can't think of any other movie other than those 2.
He's almost in every single Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah. Which was he in that Fox one? I didn't like that Fox one. The one with the talking fox.
Wasn't that one an animated one?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one. But I've seen almost all the live action ones, like Life Aquatic and.
So Jason Schwartzman, he's in the Fargo TV show.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow, that season.
Claws. I haven't seen that.
I was a big fan of the Bored to Death show he was on, and he was on Blunt Talk with what's it called? Your guy from Star Trek. What's his name? The bald one.
Patrick
Card.
Stewart.
Yeah, you go
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
You know what movie Jason Schwartzman was in that was really good? The Polka King. Have you guys seen that
Sounds familiar.
with Jack Black?
Bernie, is that one?
No, that was a different movie.
Oh.
This is the Polka King.
I think I have seen it though. I think I have seen it. It might have appeared on Netflix, and that's why I watched it.
So this guy, he's like a polka guy, and he does like the polka circuit. He's got a band and everything, goes around, and he just ends up milking all these old people for money. And he keeps trying to break this habit of milking old people for money, and he just keeps falling into it and keeps moving money around and finds out he can get grants and stuff from the government, but not really understand that he has to pay him back. And that you're not really sure if he's like really a genius or if he's dumb. It's based on a real guy. It's excellent. You should watch it. The Polka King, Jack Black, fantastic in that movie. I want to watch it again. Now, just talking about it. Okay. That's it. We talked about Jason Schwartzman. Do you have anything left to say? Join us in Discord. Rocket Sauce is a Discord, Fandango Discord guy.
Mm-hmm. I fill in for Rambox there. So
there you go.
Yeah. Excellent. I think Richard's just waking up now. He's just
sun's coming up.
Look at that.
It's getting to be that
Yeah.
time.
It's getting ready for some brekkie.
So what are we talking about?
Discord. Join me on the Fandango Discord.
Yeah. Me too.
Ryan's my official spokesperson. He's my
Oh.
presence.
Listen to people go on about Fast and the Furious for some reason in the Discord. People can't stop talking about that damn Fast and the Furious. I think Richard's to blame though, because he kind of brought it up again, and that fueled the flames again.
That was Frantic. He said these are great movies.
Fantastic
You should
movies.
watch these movies.
5 out of 5, I believe he said.
All of them. The whole series.
He said
Celebrates it.
He said if you like older movies, you'll like Fast and the Furious because it's a throwback to all the awesome old movies.
Yep.
Okay. That's it. We fizzled. We're done. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Once I
And
heard Major League, I was like, what? I got to be on that.
well, hey, and look, that's all it takes really to be on the show. Just say, hey, I want to be on. It's not a big deal. You
I
know?
would have joined last week too, but I realized that I know how my internet security works at work where I don't know if SteamYards will set off any like security alerts, but it's ultra sensitive. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm not going to join from the office here. I'll just still just listen
taking
in
your
here.
risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Nope.
jeopardize your chance to meet up with Bob Euchre again.
Yeah. For this stupid show.
I'll stick in the chat like you guys should be doing.
That's right. The chat, let me tell you, it's been crazy. I see you all out there. It's been crazy to keep up with all of them.
I can't keep up with the comments. It's
Yeah,
like a
there's-
Twitch. It's like
it
a
just
live
keeps
Twitch
going.
stream. Yeah.
It's wow.
Are you just gonna pick one and ignore everybody else?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can. There's too much here. Well, I see Kevin is great. Go Buried on Mars. Go. We love Kevin. Wake Up Richard. It just keeps going, you know.
Boner. There's a couple boners in there.
There's some. Where's Boner? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We can't top that.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Goodbye.